So you're on board with Oikos, but you don't know what that means for your communication. Fantastic. This session is going to cover 5 different things that you can do to help your church reach their Oikos more effectively. Welcome. I'm super excited to talk about communications and Oikos and how those things belong together. What I'm guessing is that some of you have communications as part of your job title. Some of you may have your whole job title dedicated to communications. There are probably others who are thinking, we don't have anybody who is championing this cause in the organization. That's fine. The tips that I'm going to talk through today are going to be very straightforward and very simple for you to be able to integrate into whatever it is you do and however it is you communicate. The first thing I think is helpful, let's start with an understanding of the goal of communication in the first place. The first goal here, or really the understanding, is this: effective communication moves people, okay? We're not talking about, hey, come to the fireside room at 8 p.m. That's a form of communication, but that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for something that moves people. At High Desert Church, we have this thing that we call the ministry funnel. It's a way that I like to visualize what the different steps in the process are for somebody who's engaged in ministry, or in some cases not yet engaged in ministry. So the first tier of this is awareness. You can see it as the top of the funnel. And then we go down from there: consideration, connection, engagement, growth, oikocentric living. We've attached a question that we want to answer with each stage of the funnel. I'm going to read those for you so that you can get a sense of what we're trying to accomplish in each step. First, under awareness, are there any churches in the high desert? If people don't know that there's a church, it's going to be really hard for them to get plugged in the first place. And in the context of oikocentric relationships, that's a hurdle. Well, what do you mean you go to a church? What's a church? And so we want to participate in that awareness ahead of time. Consideration: why should we attend HDC? Once that oikocentric conversation happens, we need a reason for them to come. And so that could be a compelling event, could be a really interesting series. There's a lot of different ways that we can make that happen. Next is connection. What are ways that we can get plugged in? I mean, if they don't know how to get plugged in deeper to the organization, there's going to be this hurdle that is impossible for people to get over. Under engagement, we have what makes us feel like we belong. What does it mean to belong to High Desert Church or to your church? Growth. What are we growing in our walk? Are we actually growing here? And then the goal for every person that comes through the doors of High Desert Church eventually is that they end up here: oikocentric living. And that's a lot of what you've been learning about throughout this conference, but also that's specifically what we're focusing on, is how to move people to this level. Are we equipped and challenged to reach our oikos? And so, as you can see, the goal here is to start at the top. Somebody who walks in our doors for the very first time on a Sunday, fantastic, they come. But how do we get them to oikocentric living? That's where each of these 5 steps move us, they move us toward that direction. So here are 5 oikocentric shifts that I want to share with you when it comes to practicing this in your church. The first one's going to feel like a gimme, so sorry, but actually list your oikos. You need to own this personally, okay? Now, on the screen, you're going to see our Oikos card. And this Oikos card is a tool that helps you begin the process. It unpacks all of the different phases of the 5 steps. But not listing your oikos is a very common but also critical mistake that people make. They think this is too simple. I will tell you from personal experience, I pray less for my oikos when I don't look at the card with names on it. I like, without question, I am disengaged from the people in my life because their names are not prompting me every night to pray for them. And so I'll use my brother as an example. He lives on the other side of the world. I don't pray for him because I don't see him unless I have his name on my card. And then what's interesting, as I am actively praying for him, God begins reminding me of opportunities to connect even further with him, even though he's on the other side of the world. And so I'll find a funny article, I'll see a cool sports highlight, and I'll pass them his way. And what we're doing is, for this season while we are away from one another, we're still fostering the relationship that we have. And my prayer, of course, is that it yields fruit over time. This is something that my family does every night. We sit down as a family before we go to bed, and we share what are we thankful for and who are the people in our life that we're praying for. And we'll interject those things and we'll weave those into our nightly prayers. it's really, really important that you own this. And I would argue even beyond just you, whoever's watching, but the staff team that you're doing ministry with. This has to be a personal value, because it's not as rich when you're just sharing it as some idea that's really a good idea. It has to be owned. So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to move from idea to action. That's our goal. Move from idea to action. It doesn't matter how compelling Oikos is if you don't do anything with it. That's just the bottom line. So you need to own this. Actually list your Oikos. Start there. All right, the next thing that is really an important kind of piece that is really kind of the subtle foundation of everything that you communicate. Point to the 5 steps. So we have these 5 steps. You've seen these 5 steps. I'm going to show you these 5 steps in case you've forgotten the 5 steps. List, pray, invest, invite, prepare. Okay? Those are the 5 steps. It's really important for us to begin shifting people's understanding of what events are. The way that you do that is you connect it to their mission. And so the example that I like to use is men's retreat. I'm not a big men's retreat guy. I don't feel the need to go, climb up a mountain barefoot and carrying a log. Like it doesn't really excite me or intrigue me. But I should not be okay with sitting in the auditorium when there's a men's retreat announcement and say, I'm not interested in men's retreat. Instead, I should be saying, who in my Oikos is interested in men's retreat? So the event actually isn't for me as an attender. Now there's value in me attending. I wouldn't say that there's no value. Even for somebody who doesn't have that bent, there's still benefit that happens when you go to a men's retreat. But I shouldn't be thinking through my own benefit exclusively when it comes to whether I attend these events. Instead, I should be saying, who on my Oikos card would be benefited from coming to men's retreat with me? And so what we're doing is we're helping people understand that these events aren't just for them, but they're for their mission. They're a tool to be leveraged for their mission. There are 2 things that happen with this. The short term is you're helping people leverage what your church does to reach their Oikos. So there's a very immediate, I can use men's retreat to reach my Oikos. Great. But the real win starts happening over the long term. Over the long term, you're training people to leverage any event as an Oikos event. Okay, so let's say that you need to get some work done on your car. Normally that's a chore. All of a sudden, it's an Oikos event. Invite your neighbor over to come help you. Maybe he doesn't know anything about cars. Fine. Just shoot the breeze. Hang out. Spend time. It's an Oikos event. Maybe you need to, this never happens to be, but maybe you need to run to Target to buy mason jars and pillows. I've never had that need. But if that's a situation for you, it's an Oikos event. Invite somebody. Go to Target together. I see a lot of people go in groups to Target. So that's a very easy ask. Have them come with you and spend time with them, invest in them. So what you're doing is you're saying, as you're saying from the stage, this is an opportunity to invite. This is an opportunity to invite. Invite your Oikos. Leverage this event to invite your Oikos. You're beginning to broaden those horizons and to broaden their understanding of what an Oikos event actually is. So a couple examples of what that looks like, because I think sometimes these things get nebulous and it's like, that's neat what you're saying, but I don't know how to actually put it into action. So I want to show you this. This is a post that we shared from one of our campuses. This is actually our old Oikos card, so don't worry about the look being different. There's nothing wrong with your screen. Essentially, all we posted was, don't forget to fill out your Oikos card and bring it back to church with you this weekend. Okay, so what are we doing here on a deeper level? We're reminding people the value of filling it out. That's what we're doing. And so this is a communication post, or it's a post on Facebook, but this is a communication from the church to our people to say, hey, we want to remind you this is important. That's it. I mean, this isn't overly complex. So another example, we had a ladies' night for our Apple Valley campus. I'm going to zoom in on the text here. So the text here says, ladies, you and your Oikos are invited to a night of fellowship and encouragement as we sip on some coffee and enjoy some dessert with friends. Come and hear Deanna Ramsey share her story and discover how God refreshes our souls. Junior high and up welcome. Coffee house opens at 6 p.m. and then there's some more information about logistics. So what you'll see here is you'll see that we're covering the logistics still. This doesn't mean that all of your posts have to be, oh, it's all about mission. There's no way for us to communicate logistics. No, that's still important. But what we're doing here is we're reminding people the place that this event lives for them. It is for them, and it's also for them to leverage to invite their Oikos. Another example, this was around the Christmas season. It's a picture of one of the signs in our lobby. Change your world. Pretty direct, not very complicated. We're just trying to remind people, hey, change your world. That's what you're here for. And the text on the post says this: come celebrate the wonder and glory of God with us this Christmas. Invite your world to attend a Christmas service with you this year. RSVP at the link in the bio. So we're doing a couple things here. We're affirming that the wonder and glory of God is what we're celebrating during the Christmas season, okay? So this isn't just invite only, invite only, invite only. No, we are saying this is what we're doing, but then we're also saying invite somebody else in your world, so engage your oikos, to attend the Christmas service this year. And so we're not compromising on some of these really core values that we believe in. We're instead saying, we believe this, and also remember your mission. Because at the end of the day, the wonder and glory of God is what should be motivating us to engage our oikos in the first place. So the goal here is to move from event reminders to mission reminders. So it's no longer, oh, hey, remember, it's time at 8 o'clock tonight, you have to go to this event and attend a thing. No, that's not what we're talking about. We're saying that remember at 8 o'clock tonight, somebody who is far from Jesus has the opportunity to encounter Jesus through this event. Don't miss the opportunity to be the catalyst for them to see that, to connect with Jesus in that way. So that's the shift. It's not about events. It's about the people in your congregation. It's about their mission. And these are all just minor tweaks to the language that we're using. Number 3, watch your language. Now, I don't mean have fewer obscenities on your communication channels, though that's probably recommended if that's a problem of yours. At the end of the day, be intentional about the language that you're using. We want to reinforce the word invite. That's important. We want to use all 5 steps. We want to use all of that language when we're talking about an event that fits that category. Some examples here. I want to show you again from Christmas. Christmas is a really big invite opportunity for us. And so if there's a time where we blow the doors off of it, this is it. And so we have a lot of examples driven out of that, which is good because that's what it's for. That's what the event is about in a lot of ways. So the card that we produced, this is a post on our social media channel. It's showing people the card torn in half, both sides. Well, not in half. You'll see the full card in a minute. But basically what we're doing is reminding them to invite their people. We're reminding them that we handed them a tool that is designed for them to tear up into pieces and give to other people. So that's what we're reminding them to do. So the text on here is very simple. Church is better with friends. Tag or send this to one of yours. And so this is where it gets really interesting. You can interact with this even if you don't have the physical card, which we designed to be an invite piece. So now we're taking a picture of an invite piece to then post on social media to use as an invite piece. So yeah, this is a weekend you won't want to miss. So here's what's cool. This person down at the bottom here, Evelyn, she tagged her friend Beatrice and she said, come with us this weekend. Okay, so she's engaged. She is leveraging this opportunity to invite her friend. And the other thing that's cool is we have 16 shares. So those stats may not be mind-blowing to you. Maybe you look at your socials and you're like, man, we're killing those numbers. That's great. It doesn't matter. What matters is that 16 people engaged their oikos, plus our good friend Evelyn here, who also engaged her oikos. So what you're doing is you're just giving people more platforms and more opportunities to engage their world. That's it. You're not creating these eloquent speeches or these super complex social media posts. You're really just giving people more opportunity and then reminding them, hey, this is an opportunity. And so that's what a lot of the communication revolves around, is giving them an opportunity and then making it clear to them that it's an opportunity. Another very small thing that we do in terms of watching our language. On this next image, you can see it says, join me for the greatest story ever told, which is our theme for Christmas. It's minor, but if we said, join us, it feels like the organization, the church, is inviting people or just telling people in kind of a broadcast way, you should join us. By saying join me for, there has to be a person connected to it or else it feels awkward. That's one of my goals. One of my goals personally is to make a communication piece feel awkward if it's not being used in the way that we think it should be used. So if I give you a promotional piece, which is our next visual here, we have a promotional piece that shows 4 different of the same design on perforated sheets so you can tear it apart. it feels awkward if you got 4 of the same thing. You're like, oh, I only need 1, thank you. And we're like, no, we're giving you 4 on purpose. You will only keep 1 of them. Give 3 of them away. And so we have a little animated post that we shared on social media. And so that's kind of a fun way to just show like, hey, tear them off, and then like invite your world, give them away. And so those are the kinds of things that we're really trying to emphasize with our communication when we watch our language. Invite your friends. That's the, you know, and then even the join me. Those are the types of things that we're really trying to make small adjustments on. Think in terms of not the piece being handed to your congregation, but instead think, what would it be, how can we make it most beneficial for them to hand to somebody else? So that's kind of the way that we're thinking through it. So the goal under this watch your language step is to move from encouraging attendance to encouraging invitation. A really big kind of differentiator here is that when you encourage invitation, you will not be sacrificing attendance. But when you encourage attendance, you are not guaranteeing invitation. So if you're worried about the bottom line, if you're worried about the number of people showing up at your events, that's fine, but encouraging just attendance isn't enough. That's not good enough. We want more. We want invitation. Are you reminding them of their mission when you're communicating to them? Is the language that you're using reminding them of their mission? And then which step is it supporting? Clarify that for them. Help them understand, hey, we got a really great growth track or a really great class coming up. This is a good opportunity for you to prepare. Hey, we have a cool event that's coming. This is a good opportunity for you to invite or invest or whatever it is. So you're crafting language that's pointing to the 5 steps. And by doing that, you're helping them understand why these events exist in the first place. Number 4, go biggest on Oikos. This is one that is always, I always feel I feel the angst, even through the camera, I feel the angst. This is a saying from, or a quote from Bill Bernbatch, who's a marketing, well, he's considered one of the most important voices in marketing, in modern advertising. It says, a principle isn't a principle until it costs you something, okay? Take a deep breath with me. Okay, here we go. This is our communication strategy. It's basically a yes-no document. And what that means is your event is not guaranteed promotion. That's what it means. We are going to evaluate your ministry or the thing that you're trying to promote, your event, and we're going to assess, is this an Oikocentric tool? Does this belong in the high category, which means you get a lot of promotion? Is it a medium thing right in the middle? Maybe it's a growth tool. It's good for like internal sake, but it's not really an invite tool that we use that way. Or is this just information that's good to know and it would fall into the low category? Now, when you look at this, when you look at the different things on this document, you're going to see different language that's kind of internal to us. These are the ways that we kind of phrase some of our things. So it's not going to be probably copy and paste, but you'll be able to get the idea. Essentially what we're saying is if the ministries that we are doing are highly oikocentric, these are incredible opportunities for people to invite their oikos. These are really, really big events, Christmas, Easter, those types of things. They're going to get a ton of promotion. The way we like to say it is, I can use this to invite my oikos. Those are the kinds of things that get high promotion. Under that medium category, these are things that are still important. These are, I'll use different language, spiritual growth classes. These are, seminars that are around a specific topic, maybe like a conference, like a parenting conference, things like that. Those could drift between the two depending on your context and kind of how your congregation leverages those to invite. But we would say these help me grow into a more effective world changer. So some of those for us, like anger management. We have a lot of people that come through the anger management class that aren't a part of our church, and that's awesome. But it primarily sits in that category of this is helpful for our people, the people of our church, to grow and to mature in certain areas so that they can become more effective as a world changer. And then in the low side of things, it's this is helpful information that might be helpful for me to know. This is HTC info. So this is information that's helpful. And so we do, like, these are things like, hey, the fifth graders are going to be graduating into sixth grade. They're going to be moving to a different class. That's not going to get the highest level of promotion that we have because it's borderline logistics. There's a celebratory nature, but it's not really an oikocentric push for us. And so we have prioritized the way that we communicate around these things. So again, I just want to read that quote again because it's a very important driver for us. A principle isn't a principle until it costs you something. There are going to be hard conversations around this idea. When you go biggest on Oikos, it's going to feel like you're neglecting other things. That's not necessarily true. It just means that you're really, really emphasizing those things that you believe to be the biggest opportunities for people to leverage in their own mission and their own ministry as they reach their Oikos. So the goal here is to move from promoting everything equally to prioritizing Oikos. And so that means that it is the most important thing. All right, number 5, care about people more than brand. This one, we're going to jump straight into examples. One of the things that you'll see with this visual here, it's just a thank you. We're not asking them to do anything. We're not promoting an event per se. We're celebrating a win. Our church family donated or delivered almost 5,665 diapers and over 400 ounces of formula. That's amazing. That's a really exciting thing for our Hesperia campus. What a win. So what we're doing is we're celebrating that. Now, why is this connected to Oikos? In today's world, the way that brand affinity works, if I sit here and I tell you that I care so much about whatever it is, international, I'll say Compassion International. If I tell you that I care about orphans or widows or children that are in hardship situations across the world, then you say, oh great, what organizations do you support? And I tell you nothing, you're not going to trust me very much in that area anymore. If I tell you as an organization, if our church says we care about your Oikos or we want you to care about your world, but you're not actually caring about your world, that message is really, really hard for people to adapt to. And so I believe deeply that it's important for us to celebrate the wins that we have as our organization cares for our community. And so that's what this is. This is a way for us to celebrate it. And what's really interesting now is that the people in your congregation have the chance to say, forward it and say, I'm so proud of my church. I'm so thankful that HDC cares about our community. I'm so appreciative of, whatever it is. What we're doing is we're actually creating an opportunity for somebody to have a dialogue with people in their Oikos. I don't know, maybe your Oikos is different than mine, but there are people that are antagonistic against the church. They believe that the church is a group of people that say a lot of nice things that don't follow through on them. Well, this is a really interesting way for us to be able to follow through, to show them that we are actually following through on some of these things. We're not perfect. No organization is, no single person is, let alone a group of people. But this is a way for us to show that we are in fact caring about our communities and we're caring for them through action. Another example is from our Apple Valley campus. We have a backpack drive. I'm going to zoom in on the text here. Connecting our hearts to our hands. Our kiddos did an amazing job stuffing backpacks to donate to local schools. Super cool. What a fun thing that our kids get to participate in caring for others. And that's what we see here. We see an example of that. And so what we're doing is we're really giving our church family an opportunity to celebrate this win with their own world, which is such a fun thing for them to be able to do. The goal here is to move from caring about being known to being known for caring. And so what we want to do is we want to shift the way that the organization is really perceived in our society, in our case, in the High Desert. We want people to know that High Desert Church cares, not just with our words, but with our actions. And so there are a lot of different things that we do. We sponsor, we volunteer and we participate in events with our local parks. There's a park day in Hesperia. We send an army of volunteers to help pull that off. We sponsor local events, things like Little League. And so you go to a Little League field and you'll see the High Desert Church logo on one of the walls, on one of the fences of the fields. We don't do that just because we like Little League. I mean, it's great, but we do that because we want our community to be able to pull off the things that it's trying to pull off and to do those well. And so by sponsoring that, we're saying that we value these things. We care. We want to be known for caring. And the list goes on. And we've donated books to schools that were underfunded. We partner with organizations that are doing good things in our community, and we celebrate that. And so that's what that looks like, to care more about people than about our brand. Okay, so that's all great and fine and good, but what about assessing what we're already doing? we put together an oikocentric promotion grid, okay? And the idea here is that it's a list of questions that you can ask as you're figuring out what do we do here as an organization, or how do we promote what we do as an organization. So I'm gonna walk through these different questions, and I'm gonna apply it to 3 examples of things that we have done. These are real life examples, not fabricated. This isn't like I'm gonna put something in a blender and it won't break. Like, these are real examples of one where we did a good job, we hit it out of the park. Another one that it's a comparison between 2, and then one of them we missed the mark, because we all missed the mark, but I wanted you to see what that looks like. So the first question here, which of the 5 steps does this promotion point to? If you're too muddy in the way that you're promoting your events, nobody's really gonna understand the value of what you're promoting in terms of connecting it to mission. So hone that in. Which of the 5 steps, which one of the 5 steps does this promotion point to? Next, does this promotion help our people invite their oikos? That's important. Is the piece compelling? Like, physically, does it look good? Is there something unique about it? One year we had a little card that you could rotate it, and it kind of animated between Good Friday and Easter. People were freaking out about it. People don't usually do that with the work that we're doing. They're like, that's great, I'll invite them because the event's gonna be good. But they loved the card just itself. And so they were showing it to people because of how unique it looked. So maybe that's a factor. You know, is this something that's gonna help stimulate that conversation? Does this promotion remind our people of their mission? Are we helping them remember what their mission is by the way that we're communicating this event or whatever it is? Can we do anything to make it easier for someone's oikos to get involved? This is another one of those areas that gets a little bit, it's a touchy subject. Is our sign-up process super clunky? Like, do you have to fill out like 19 forms in order to attend your event? Can you even fill out a form online? I'm not judging you. I'm just saying no one else in the world mandates that. I can do a lot of stuff digitally now. And so if you don't have some sort of digital process, that's probably going to feel like friction for somebody in somebody else's oikos. It's going to be a complicated experience. I would say the same thing with credit cards. Do you even take credit cards for event signups? Is it still cash or check only? I don't have checks really. And so that's not to say that my way is better. I'm just saying that the vast majority of places that I do business with have not been a problem without me having checks. I think I'm at the point now where if they don't have Apple Pay, I'm a little bit confused. So think about those things when it comes to, can you do anything to make this process easier for somebody else's oikos to get involved? Sometimes that means more work. I would argue that our own laziness is often the thing that makes it harder for people to engage. So just recognize that some of these things are going to be work on your end, and that's okay. That's what we're here for. The next question, will anything make it difficult for people to invite their oikos? Can we address that? So in some of these situations, I mean, it's a super, super expensive event, or it takes place on a really impractical day or time. Maybe you can't avoid it, and that's okay. You don't have to, I mean, you can't always fix everything. But if there are ways that you can address it. Take the time to address it. Should we go big with this promotion? Is there something about this event or opportunity that really seems like it has potential? If so, blow it up. Go big with it. Really lean into it. And it doesn't matter if it's a major ministry, by the way. Just because you've done women's Bible study for 30 years and it's been pretty successful, that doesn't mean that that's always the event that gets the huge promotion. Sorry if that is, not what a lot of people like to hear, but that may not be the most effective pathway for people to invite their oikos to church or to connect with them or to engage with them. Okay, examples. We got 3. A good one, a comparison, and a miss. So first, we had an event. It was called Light the Night, and it rained like crazy leading up to the event. And so people were not sure if we were actually still having the event. So I'm going to show you an update slide or an update post that we shared. This is boring, okay? I get it. It's a logistics post. So why is this under the good category? I'm going to highlight a couple things to show you why. Okay, so let's run through these different questions. Which of the 5 steps does this point to? It points to invite. So down at the bottom you can see, and you've invited. That means there are people that you have already invited. We're assuming that you're engaged. We're assuming that you are jumping in and you're going to invite people to this event, and really that you already have. Does the promotion help our people invite their world? Not really. It's an update. So that's okay. We're just giving them the information that they need. It is still shareable, by the way, so you can still engage your world with it. But the assumption at this point on this post is that you've already invited your world. Does the promotion remind our people of their mission? Absolutely it does. It tells them, hey, you've probably already invited people, so you need this information. And in a sense, we're saying, I sure hope you've invited people, because that's our assumption, is that you're taking part. Can we do anything to make it easier for someone's oikos to get involved? Absolutely. Not only can we did. We have added additional indoor activities for families because we didn't know what the weather was going to be. So we retooled this event in a matter of hours just to accommodate the people who are coming. And so we're making it as easy as we can for oikos to get involved. Will anything make it difficult for people to invite their oikos? Can we address it? The weather, yes, made it difficult, but there's nothing we can do about it. So we did all the things that we could do, which was move some things inside in order to address it. And then the question really, should this be a big promotion or should we go big? Not really, it's just an update. But that's an example of a pretty boring piece of communication that needs to go out that is filtered through the lens of oikocentric communication. And so you can see this isn't, it's not overly complex. It's just a matter of choosing your words intentionally, thinking through how are we doing these things. And so those questions that we're asking here, this promotional grid, it's really helping us make these posts better, even the boring ones. All right, so now a comparison. This is just a normal weekend. We're excited to be with you this morning and expecting great things this weekend as Pastor Tom dives into the book of Isaiah. Pretty generic post. And then on the right, you have good morning, grab a friend and join us for worship as we celebrate baptisms today. See you at 9 and 11. I'm guessing you already can see the difference, but I'm going to highlight it just in case. Grab a friend. What we're doing here is we're pointing to this idea of invite. And so we're saying a normal weekend is still a weekend where you can invite a friend. Now, we didn't use the invite language, so maybe some of you are yelling at your screens right now. You didn't use the specific language. It's fine. We'll be all right. But you can see here how we're pointing to that step regardless. And then here's a miss. We missed the mark on this one, okay? This is VBS. We're promoting our VBS at one of our campuses. You can see on here it says VBS, it says the date, and then it says the URL that you can go to. So here's the copy. Let's dig into that. I'll read it, and then let's go through the promotional grid. Sign your child up to join us for this year's VBS Roar here at our very own Hesperia campus. This epic African adventure engages the whole herd. At Roar, kids explore God's goodness and celebrate a ferocious faith that powers them through this wild life. We look forward to sharing a great time with your kids. All right, let's do the promotional grid now. Which of the 5 steps does this does this promotion point to? Unfortunately, none of them. The biggest call to action here is sign up, which is a bummer because the reason this really is a miss is because VBS is often a very compelling invite opportunity. But we missed it. We didn't tell them to invite anybody. We just told them to sign their own kids up. And so what this does is actually feels like a super internal event. And so I'm hoping that by this point, you can actually tell how jarring that is and how internally minded this feels when it comes to a communication piece. We're not asking anybody to invite anybody. We're not even saying this is a good opportunity for your kids to prepare. We're literally just saying sign up for a thing we're doing. Well, that doesn't feel very missional. That doesn't feel very oikocentric, and it's not. Next, does the promotion help our people invite their world? No. First, it doesn't remind them of the value of invitation. But beyond that, there aren't any clear calls to action that they can do without a bunch of extra work. We'll cover that in a second. Does the promotion remind our people of their mission? It does not. It just tells them to sign up. Can we do anything to make it easier for someone's oikos to get involved? Absolutely yes. We can do things to make it a lot easier. We can encourage them to invite their oikos. Also, we can provide a clickable link. For some reason, we didn't. And so there's literally nothing that you can do. You can't sign up for this event without opening the browser, opening another tab on your browser and then typing in the URL that we're giving them. Well, that's not easy. That's extra work for no reason at all. And so, yeah, there's a lot that we can do to make it easier for people. Will anything make it difficult for people to invite their oikos? Can we address it? Well, I mean, there's missing information. I don't know if it costs money. I know the date ranges. I'm assuming it's not 3 24-hour days, but I don't know the times. There's a lot of fairly critical information that's missing. Maybe not for me as somebody who attends, but if I'm going to send this to somebody in my Oikos, I'm going to feel like I don't have enough information to actually answer the questions that they have for me. So that's an issue. And then should we go big with this promotion? I mean, it depends on how oikocentric we plan to be with it. If we make this, so think of it this way. It's the difference between saying, sign your kids up to join us for VBS this year. I think through the lens of announcements. So how did we handle this with announcements? I'm guessing it was, hey guys, we're super excited about VBS. Got a couple animal jokes that I read on the internet. I'm gonna share those with you. And then it's, sign up at the table out back. Yeah, we did it. Like that's kind of how we approach announcements. Well, what if instead we had any of these other options? We had, hey, VBS is coming this year. This is an incredible opportunity for your kids to invite their world. We know that inviting people to church is sometimes tricky, and as a kid, it's extra complex. VBS is a really, really good opportunity for your kids to practice being world changers. Okay, that feels a little bit more exciting. Let's say you don't want to go the invite route, but you want to go the prepare route. Man, growing up as a kid in today's world is complicated and difficult. They encounter things that we have never encountered when we were growing up. VBS and this specific program of Roar is going to help your kids prepare as they learn what it means to be a Christ follower in a world like ours today. Even that is more compelling than sign up for an event that we have right now. And so that's what it looks like to really use these questions, the 5 different kind of changes that I'm recommending, and then also this promotional grid to revise the verbiage that you're using. So that's the presentation. Typically at this point, what we would do is we would say, somebody ask us a question and see what happens. Obviously in this format, that's a little different. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna share my email address on the internet, okay? Don't tell anybody. But it is mcurtis@highdesertchurch.com. Reach out to me if you have questions about this stuff. We care deeply about helping churches embrace the Oikos principle. And in my own kind of space in particular, I care deeply about helping churches communicate better. How do we help people understand their mission in a more meaningful way? Through all of the little things that we do, it culminates to the people in your church understanding what God has called them to do and who He has called them to be. Thank you so much for taking time to watch this, and I am excited to hear from you.